Pastner. Practice got started yesterday.
Yep.
Day 2 today. If you want to go ahead and open with a couple of remarks, and then we'll open it for questions.
Yep. We had practice yesterday. We kind of first day of sort of called official practice. I thought the guys competed and got after it. They worked hard, did a nice job. We got a lot of work to do. We have a long way to go, but we got a good group of young men, and we've got guys who I think have a really high care factor. I mean, they want to do right. They care about doing right. But we just got a lot of work to do in a short amount of time before we open up with in our private scrimmage, and then the exhibition, and then into accountable games. So we're just a team that's in. I just think is a work in progress, and it's just going to take some time, and we'll just continue to get better each day.
Raise your hand. I'll get a microphone.
Where do you feel some of these guys are now as opposed to when you first saw them when you first arrived on campus?
Well, when I first saw them on campus, I don't want to tell you how I initially felt, so I'll keep that to myself. Compared to where they are now, it's night and day different. I'm really proud of them, how they've worked. Now, do we still have a long way to go? Absolutely. I mean, just them being able to move the ball and share the ball. I mean, I'm a real big believer on high assist on made field goals, and the open man's always the go-to man, making the extra pass. And so them understanding that when I first got with them, my first 2 weeks of workouts in that April period, just them understanding not giving the ball a headache and pounding it and moving the ball in the pass and all those things. So they've come a long way from that point.
How are the guys picking up the systems, and what are the strengths and weaknesses so far?
I'll be honest with you. I've always been a big believer in defense, and because we've had so much to do offensively that we're just on how I want to play offensively, we probably haven't done enough defensively to this point because we spent so much time on offense. Because my focus has been, how are we going to make sure that we're, one, valuing the basketball, and two, finding different ways to score the ball too. And just learning on how to play the right way, on the way that I shouldn't say the right way, the way that I like to play, and that's probably a better terminology to do it because there's different ways to skin a cat. But I think we've got some work to do defensively now that we got these practices where we're not up against a clock with time limit, and you have a little more longevity to do different things. I think we'll see some increases on the defensive end. But I think we have good length. We do have good length, so we're going to have to utilize that to our advantage. There's some deficiencies we have defensively, but there's one thing we do have is we do good. We have good length.
From Real Talk Sports, I heard you mention about moving the ball around. Is that the Pastner brand? How would you kind of describe your brand of basketball?
Yeah, I've always, my teams have always been great at having high assist on made field goals. I've always been a big believer in that. I'm really big on player movement and ball movement, and our pace of play. Pace is a big word I use a lot. Pace of play. I think if you look at my last 7 years, I think in 6 of the 7 we've been top 10 in the country in pace of play. That's big on me. And last year we were one of the best teams in pace of play, and we were one of the worst shooting teams in the entire country, which is unheard of to be so bad of a shooting team, but to be one of the best pace of plays teams because we did a really good job of moving the ball and attacking from side to side. I truly believe the best way, again, this is just my personal belief, you want to try to force 2 legit closeouts on the defensive end to create the defense to get into a rotation or a scramble mode situation. If you can do that, now you've broken the defense down, and the best way to do that is through different ways, but that's what we're trying to accomplish. So I would say, I want our teams to have a great pace about themselves. I want a team that's going to move the ball, and the open man's going to be the go-to man, and then we make I always call it the one more, the extra pass, turn down a good shot to get a great shot. And then what's really important to me is always winning 50-50 balls. That's hard to play for me if you can't win 50-50 balls. And that means if there's a ball loose on the floor, you got to be the first to the floor to get it. You got to be the first to get it. I think 50-50 balls are a direct correlation to winning, and that's important.
you have sort of an uphill battle right now in terms of recruiting, just to try and get people? You basically have to kind of chip away and get a couple guys to jump on the ship to help build the program. Kind of what is? I know you can't talk specific people, but kind of what has the feedback been, and do you feel like you're making some progress in turning that corner?
I tell you what, we have recruited. We've never had so many unofficial visits. I think we've set the record for the amount of unofficial visits, kids coming to campus. It's been surreal. And we've recruited like crazy. We've recruited like crazy. And I think we've done a great job. Now, have we, again, we got to get some guys. And I think we came in, obviously we were late in the 17 class. I think we're in great shape with the 18s and 19s. We're really in great shape with the 18s and 19s and 20s, but we came in behind the 8 ball in 17. So we're trying to pick up as much ground coverage as we can, and we're chipping away at it. We just need a couple guys to say yes, and one thing I know is we're going to get some guys. We're going to recruit at a high level. We're going to get good players and good people and guys. So we got to get guys who can also put the ball in the basket. And I think also guys who have who are aligned with me who just have such distaste for losing and who are self-motivated and internally driven to succeed. So we're going to get it done.
Pick up. You brought it up a second. You brought it up a second ago, and you just said it again, the self-motivation. What's your motivation, Coach? What gets you going to come in here every day when you wake up, leave your house, to want to come here with a lot of unknowns, new school, new team? Your drive. What gets you excited about coaching at Georgia Tech?
Yeah, I'm just I have many character flaws and many character defaults. I can tell you that. And the list is long and more than there is probably good stuff. But one of them that's, I think, for me that I'm just very driven. I'm very internally driven. I can't understand when someone's not self-motivated. I'm an energy guy, so I'm always talking about having a pep in your step, and we're moving and we're going. You know what I mean? And I always talk about the caravans moving. You're either on or you're off. There are no handlebars, so you can't be hanging on. So that's just, now me being that, I've got to do a better job of being there's other areas I've got to be better at as well too, with just stuff, but that's just who I am, and I believe in positive energy. I'm just an energy guy. I want our teams to play with great positive energy, and that's why I go back to being self-motivated. Sometimes if you need to be coddled and enabled and babied, I'm not the best guy for you, because I'm not real good at that. I haven't been good at that. I'm not good at that. And the guys who I'm most aligned with are guys who are driven and want to be. Doesn't mean we can't clash or butt heads, but it's a good button head. It's a good clashing, because we see eye to eye on the big picture.
I'm curious what you said about setting a culture and particularly just that distaste for losing and toughness. Do you make that more of a priority with your first class, because you know that role that they're going to play in establishing that culture, over a kid who's a better scorer but maybe is not as high on the chart with that?
I think you can, again, because of NCAA rules, I can't talk any particulars, but I think just in general you can look at the terms of who we're recruiting and who we're going after. There's things I've learned. Listen, I'm a better coach today than I was 7 years ago when I took over at Memphis. And there's some certain things that I take that I say I need to do better in this area. And one of the biggest things, what is aligned? What's the guys who you're getting need to be aligned to the head coach. I can't be aligned to them. They have to be aligned to me. Otherwise, it won't work. And so the alignment that I find for me is there's about 2 or 3 things that are non-negotiable, and I've learned that through my time, and that the energy and being an energy giver, having a tremendous motor, but also having winning matters. It just totally matters distaste for losing, and you're self-motivated, you have that, you can get the thing moving much quicker because we're going to be really aligned. It doesn't mean we're not going to butt heads, or there's going to be some times we're going to have some friction and some battles, and that's okay. But if we're aligned, then you deal with it.